before we do this, I noticed we don't have any minutes. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. With me going out of town, I just didn't get them done.
Okay.
I had asked Diana to let me do them. It was a workshop that we had with a consultant over at the community building that just did not have.
Okay.
Well, there, you were there.
Yeah, I was just making sure. Okay, all right, so we'll open the meeting up at 6:01. This is the Montgomery Economic Development Corporation meeting for June 27th, and the time is, 6:01. And present, let's see here, we've got Arnett, Dan, and Casey, and myself, and of course, we have a quorum. So, Mr. Olson, are there any public comments? No, okay. So we're going to, I guess, just start out with item number 1, which is consideration of possible action regarding the on-street parking concept along South McCown, and it's on the MEDC owned property. And Mr. Olson, are you going to help us with that explanation of that, or?
So we went over it. Well, there's a good picture of it here.
Yeah.
The new concept. You can kind of see it. And I thought they were going to extend the sidewalk all the way. I don't know why they brought the sidewalk up there. But anyways, you can see it. It's fairly self-explanatory. Sidewalk goes around it. I thought there was just because the rendering in the concept for the parking lot, it runs just even all the way down, and the parking goes up to it, these other parking places.
Okay, so we got 9 parking spots. The last time we were all together, I want to say that we did discuss closing down McCown and creating parking throughout that, or was that?
So we just close it right here.
Okay.
Right. If we do that now, though, then we would have to improve this entrance into this real estate lot because it's kind of narrow and there's a big old ditch right there.
Okay, so basically we're just closing off the access from the east side, not from 105.
There'd still be access either way to this.
Yeah, we're not closing it
it.
yet.
On-street parking, and to your point, I did make a note to extend that sidewalk.
So all the way this way. That's the thing. It looks like they left spaces because our property runs the whole way. It's like, well, fill it up.
Yeah, why do we not?
So the reason that I thought that they might have done that was the intersection of John Butler. So one of the things I want to talk to him, and I can talk to him in the morning during our engineering meeting, is if there's something that is there a safety concern that they have that wouldn't allow it? While I don't see an issue with having those parking spots there, I'm also not a traffic engineer who's I do like a sidewalk in front because I never want to put kids and people, behind cars.
Right.
You need to be able to go to the front and walk around. But I'll talk to them about, kind of maximizing it because I'm sure there's a cost efficiency that we ought to be, mindful of if we've already got a crew out there, a few more spots.
Yeah, because I was thinking we'd pick up almost 12 spots, but.
Right.
Well, it seems like we could pick up more spots, and the other question is, why wouldn't we put those in at an angle, or?
Yeah,
I kind of agree with that too. It'd be easier to get it out. The only problem with the angle is that then you're left with only one. You have to come in from one direction and go out.
I understand. Yeah.
Are we encouraging entering the highway on 105? I mean, that just seems like a mess.
Or discouraging. To the point that was mentioned earlier. We do think that long term, the closure of the 105 access does make sense, but. I don't think I think if...
What would be the reason for just not closing it now?
There's really not one. I mean, again, because as long as we have, access to the real estate office, which they do, and so there wouldn't be any, reason not to. The city council, if they wanted to, to look at doing it and then just say, hey, look, this doesn't make sense. It's an issue now.
I know we will have to improve that.
Sorry, guys.
Hey, guys.
The access.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, if we're going to go down there and do it,
yeah.
because then at that point you can actually pick up another spot to the left. or to the south, right?
Well, it just seems like, maybe the angled parking, now that we actually got the engineer and the developer here, you guys, should we let the record know that you guys, these guys are, okay. We're looking at this first, the packets did not go out while he was on vacation. The secretary sent out something tonight.
Yeah, I thought the thing he sent out, it didn't seem right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we reached out today and said, hey, do we have an agenda for tonight? And that's when we discovered.
Found it
we didn't.
online, I guess.
Yeah.
At any rate, so this is, Casey's asked the staff to put some preliminary drawings together to start to develop some parking along McCown. And this is what they've come out with so far. And we were talking about how we've got a lot more land, and why wouldn't we add more spaces as opposed to just, 9? And the idea was to create a sidewalk as well, I guess from 105, so that you can get up and down that road. But and then I mentioned about maybe angling, but then you can only go in one way if you angle them. What's your guys' take on?
I guess, is that road always going to be in existence, you think?
I think the long-term plan, at least the downtown master plan, did call for, at least the consideration of closing, kind of the access to their.
Because you can't get on 105, right?
Right, right, right now.
Turn it off of it.
Right.
Oh, well, they should just be closed off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think we should just present it to council to close it, fix the sidewalk, fix this, because they're gonna have to fix this, this approach basically, or this driveway into the real estate office.
Right.
If we do that, because it's kind of, it's not very big. It's kind of narrow, steep-sided, big culvert.
Yeah. Yep.
But it would be a completed project at that point, right? You're done. Move on to the next thing instead of going back and revisiting it later.
Yeah.
So if I can recap some of the, some of the revisions that we talked about, just make sure I'm going to communicate the right things. I'm going to kind of start from the top of the drawing and just work, down where it is. First, we either want the sidewalk to extend to those other parking spaces up there, or, if the intersection is not an issue, or there's some other consideration not an issue, can we extend those parking spaces north and just connect them to the existing ones right there?
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
By the law office and things.
Yeah, so it would be to move.
Why do we need a sidewalk at all for that little tiny space? And then you don't even have a sidewalk anywhere else? Are you?
Well, it
But there
actually,
is, so it's not a sidewalk in front of these parking places, but it's actually a like gravel path.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes more sense.
and then there is a sidewalk to the north of the existing parking spaces that's there. It's like a red
Yeah.
stamp, concrete.
Yes.
I think, like what, it seems to be a good idea to connect, with a pedestrian way that doesn't involve, walking in the street.
Right.
Again, if we end up, wanting to take that out, and again, to the point of, crushed granite and things like that, if there's a material that we can use, again, kind of the important thing is to not put the people getting out of the cars on the back side of the cars. As long as we can get them to the front, then we know we're doing our best to make sure nobody gets run over when it gets back over.
So real quick, Dave, why don't we get a drawing that would take us all the way up to the very north space right behind the museum?
Yep.
And connect, and then come all the way down as far as we can. I think y'all right that these spaces should face parallel because the way they are now, because it does allow you to get in and out, and it matches what's going on up north too.
Right.
So,
Very good.
yeah.
Basically, I think we can add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 places to that.
Yeah.
Probably 5 easy though.
Yeah,
And then
the
kind of
9
the-
spaces are not
The
very
bigger
many.
piece that'll come out is gonna be kind of, does MEDC want to, go to council and say, hey, here's an idea for this park, and it does involve disclosure. You can say, look, here's other places that this has been talked about, the closure of this. And if they're on board with that, then that'll help us, maximize that. And one, small point on the closure of the street there at 105, we've wondered, so we would really like to talk TxDOT into a right-hand turn lane.
Yeah,
You know, from 105 there.
Absolutely.
And that intersection has always been their hang-up of, well, there's not enough, you know, essentially, yeah, we're open to the conversation, but the first, you know, step of the conversation is, you know, being willing to close, you know, that street there because there's just not enough room. So, this could help us, you know, on other fronts, again. With
That's
the
a good
closure of
point,
the street
yeah.
there.
Well, would it impede emergency services for some reason or other?
So the street itself would stay open all the way down to the parking. It would be a dead-end street down there, but you know, it would likely be something that was not, you know, passable, you know, by a vehicle there. Because you know, if you left it open for emergency vehicles, what's to say somebody else can't get in there? And you do still have access either from a block on either side. You know, you
Sure,
go down
just
John
go roll
Butler,
ahead,
you
just
get there,
across the
or you're, you know, coming up 149.
You'd have to basically complete the curb.
Yeah, you know, because again, I do see him, but I'm not out there a lot, to be honest with you. I'm very, you know, behind a monitor, you know, most of the time that I'm in the city. But, you know, I don't see a ton of folks, you know, coming in and out of that. I do see some people, you know, some people are gonna, you know, who know they're gonna see if they can, you know, can get out on the 105.
Yeah.
You know, most people that are coming into downtown.
Nobody goes up and down that
You
road.
know, a different way for some reason. They're either, again, they're going down John Butler or up.
Prairie.
Once they get to 105, they made a mistake.
Yeah.
And they realize it, yeah.
So,
Well, okay, so the idea would be to close off that access at 105 and maybe push council towards making some recommendations to TxDOT to start that right-hand turn lane. We own the land right there, so
Yeah.
we could give up the,
yeah, it really comes down to what they call a stacking one. So they like, I think it's 700 feet, something like that. So they've got a minimum length that they want to see. They'll make exceptions on that. And so that's what sounded like they were open to. Hey, you know, we're fine if it's a little less. But the little less included the closure of, you know, the street.
which is fine. I mean, like I said, I think it's a win for everybody.
how far is that from, say, the beginning of that turn?
149.
Yeah, to
I'm not 100%.
It's only a couple hundred feet.
only a couple, not 700 feet.
No, you'd be all the way past the donut
Yeah,
shop on
probably,
that.
you know, 150, 250 feet, you know, somewhere in that range, you know, if we can get, you know, all the space we
Okay.
can get.
But even that would make a huge difference for traffic. It would make a huge
Yeah,
difference.
it would.
Yeah, the right-hand turn,
Yeah,
absolutely.
oh, that's great.
It would be nice, in addition to that, just kind of exploring some ideas for that intersection, for that corner that the city owns, you know?
Man, we're getting some mission creep in here. As long as I got the money, we can come up with
I mean,
it.
it just, it makes sense, right? To kind of protect what you own, you know, you're never gonna get that chance again once it's developed or what, I mean, it's city-owned property, so that's the advantage is you can do what you want.
What are you thinking?
I don't know, and just start exploring some ideas that other cities have done with land that they have, you know?
Well, it's the entryway to downtown too, so I mean, the
I'd
idea
love to just, right now, I'd love to
land.
put sprinklers in it and make it green, so it doesn't
Yeah,
look like a
maybe
drivable
it's
pasture
just
all the
green
time.
space.
Yeah.
That may be all it is.
It doesn't feel very green over there in the middle of
downtown
that,
plan has like
in the middle
historic.
of that, you know, four-way. It just, so many cars right there. I mean, I don't say it doesn't feel, it seems like we should do something, a welcome center or something like that would be more appropriate or something.
Just pavers, nice sidewalk and a place to sit.
Yeah, and a little park area where you,
Yeah.
That may be all it is a park area.
yeah, where you can court
Some
and
sprinklers,
stuff.
some landscaping, and just
Yeah,
make
you
it
can
look
maybe
nice.
close it off and have some, like a park.
Yeah.
Put a
Yeah.
fence.
Yeah, yeah.
So this,
Nice little fence.
we're not voting on anything here, are we?
There's a possible action,
Yeah,
so.
you know, you know, we left it open that if there was action, I feel like I've got the direction, you know,
Yeah.
that y'all would like to see, so I can go ahead and do that.
Okay.
What I'll do is, you know, rather than wait, I won't wait until the next month to show you guys that, as soon as I get it, and I can send it out to y'all, you know, y'all can say, yep, this is what we're thinking, this is not what we're thinking. You know, as long as we're not deliberating on this outside of a meeting, you know, you can give your feedback to staff all day long. So I'll do it in a way that, you know, that again, doesn't put y'all in a bad spot, but also doesn't have to make us wait until, you know, a month. just to know if that was the right idea or the right.
Well, I think we're definitely heading in the right direction. What do you guys think?
I'm a little hesitant right now to spend any money because we don't know what our budget's gonna be like if this.
Oh, I can tell you almost within.
Would be 50% of what our
Yeah,
budget is now in the short term.
That's not on the agenda, but that's something certainly that.
So not to say that, you know, I know we've got commercial coming in, we've got future sales, but we just don't know. We've been operating off of our current budget. If it's halved in the short term, then we may want to reevaluate our priorities, which I know parking is a high priority. So it may be fine. It's just, I'm a little bit hesitant to really make any decisions on
So
bigger projects.
here's how this will work.
Are we allowed to talk about this if it's not on the agenda? Or?
Sure, I think all this is in the context of this item.
Right, so for the budget, let's look just strictly about the budget and think about, yes, we're gonna cut it in half, but we have to get everything voted on by the public, which won't happen until November. So this year's budget.
It's fine.
Is fine.
And next year's budget's probably.
Next year's fine. Well, by the time we actually vote on it, Home Depot's doors will be open. Lupe Tortilla's doors
And
will
we'll
be
be
open.
able to see.
Home Depot,
What the revenue
their projection for that store was $1 million worth of revenue to the city.
Of which
You won't see
EDC
much of
gets
it. You get-
25, or about
you
25%.
get 25%.
So $250,000.
Yeah, and then you add the Lupe Tortilla and all that back in. You're not gonna see much change in your budget by the time it comes back to you. That was the whole reason why we looked at it and said, they won't even notice it.
Well, I still have a question about why do we need to double the police force?
We're not doubling it. We're actually cutting it out of the admin. That's why we're doing this.
Oh, you're just cutting it out of the admin, but EDC's gonna pay for it.
Yeah, funneling
No,
it back.
the city's, what? The city's tax dollars are gonna pay for it.
But,
I mean,
but they're.
the city
they're-
owns the purse strings, like, and to a certain extent, so,
Yeah.
I mean, the city can do.
100%.
I mean, it has to be voted on by the voters, is what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
to
So,
change it.
To change it, but, so it's.
So basically all we're doing is we're
We're just
We're
reallocating.
carving it, we're carving it. I know this sounds crazy, and maybe it just feels like me, but it seems like EDC's, but, continues to get carved out of by
We are
council.
getting carved out by council.
Well,
Yes.
as far as what's given to you, we haven't touched it. As far as any projects we've asked for help on, absolutely, but that's why we're here as an MEDC, is to assist the city,
Right.
right? You're sitting on $3 million, 2.5, almost $3 million, and it's not doing much. And we have streets that need fixing.
We've got plans for it, so, I mean,
We have sewer lines and stuff that we're tapped to our very limits, that we just don't have any. We just borrowed $3.5 million, so all our toilets flush, right? That's important, that my toilet flushes.
Right.
I want my toilet to flush.
I totally understand that. I guess the question is, since council's gonna end up with another $1 million too, why do they need to pull from EDC?
We're not pulling from EDC,
Not yet.
and we're not gonna pull from EDC.
We're just not getting anything
We're just
additional.
we're just not.
We're just not
exactly.
getting what we
You're just
would've
not gonna get more. You're gonna
Yeah, we're not.
maintain,
You're cutting it off before it
It is
gets to
being-
us.
Yeah, you're cutting it off before it gets to us, what it is,
you're
yeah.
gonna maintain the budget that you already,
It's-
basically the income that you
that's
were
not-
already getting, which was very significant for what we did with it. And yes, I know we have plans, but we have, guys, we have a water tower that at some point we have to build $18 million. We still have sewage treatment plants that we have to build, and they're $14-15 million, right? So if we don't give you $250,000 to not sure just sit in the bank account, I would just be like, okay, I guess we're gonna have to do
So
it.
what you're telling us is we need to spend more money faster.
Well, I would just say,
I don't understand why we're doing it this way.
I'm good with that.
I don't understand why we have to do it the back door way whenever anytime the city has come to, or in the past, the city has come to us to ask for assistance for paying for water and sewer. And we understand that for us, that's the main backbone of economic development. Why not just ask the
but that's the
MEDC for
thing,
more
we
money?
can't. We can only use MEDC funds for procurement, like buying a property, things like that. I cannot use it for capital projects. Like the sidewalks, we could, because that's economic development. But to put in a sewer line, can't. To put in a
To
new
service,
well, we can't.
new development, we can't spin it that way? If
It
we're
has to
running
be
a new
city.
line down to
Yes.
Redbird or whatever?
Absolutely not. No, that's city infrastructure. So we cannot, because it's not economic development, that's city infrastructure. So there's reasons why we're like, okay, the police department is draining us $2.5-3 million out of our $5 million budget every year. if we can pull them out of there and say, look, you can take care of your own cars, you can take care of all this stuff, and we have no money for capital projects, zero, right? So to go fix a street, go fix a bridge, we don't have anything, we're tapped out.
But won't that change to some degree once this tax revenue starts rolling in from these other areas?
Not to the extent that we need, that's the
Well,
problem.
what do you need?
Millions, millions. Just those projects that I told you are like almost $30 million.
The problem is like you've got this new growth coming in.
And we don't wanna raise
and
taxes.
We're behind. We're behind, so
Yeah.
it takes a little bit of time to catch up. to
Exactly.
They're pulling water, they're pulling sewer before we can get tax revenue out of them.
That's
And
right.
you need to get it turned around into back into infrastructure.
Because we have to put the capital expense in first, then the houses get built and sold before we ever see one dime of any ad valorem tax.
Well, so you can't squeeze blood out of a turnip.
There are
Well,
there are
understand
ways to
that.
do bonds and stuff.
Oh, we
too.
did. We did a $3 million bond and
So that's the
tapped
way you
out.
can kind of.
We are maxed out on what our water and sewer payments will pay right now. On $3.5 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how we gonna,
Our water's already high as giraffe ass.
how we gonna address all the erosion problems too? We got major erosion problems.
Absolutely.
We
That all
talked
takes
about
cash.
that last. city council, I think,
down by your
meeting.
spot.
It takes money, and it's money is something we are
Money
short
wasted.
of.
So the idea is basically to cut EDC's budget in half, take that money for the police, but it's actually just going into the council budget.
No, it goes to the police.
All right, well, that goes to the police, but
And we pull-
it absolves some of the
Admin costs,
council
yes.
admin. Plus, we're paying an admin and administrator, which,
Do you want his job?
yeah. Well, I'm just curious as
Do
to
you want his
why.
job, honestly?
What's that?
Do you really want his job? I don't.
I think it needs to be apparent
The people
whenever.
will rip you apart, just like they do him every single day.
They rip who apart?
Gary,
Oh, because of why?
stuff we have no control over. Right? And then you got council members who, for some reason, have very little common sense when it comes to what we can control and what we can't. Right? And just, when the citizen gets done tearing his ass, then they turn around and tear his ass. It's like, guys, nobody can predict a 20-inch rain over a week. Nobody can predict that. I'm sorry if your house flooded,
Yeah.
but, we didn't know it was gonna flood till it flooded.
Well, okay, so what about grant money and things like that? I mean, why can't, surely there's.
We can explore grants, but the other thing you have to remember, because of our economics of where we are, we don't qualify for much.
Grants take years too, so. on the short
What's
term.
that, Ryan?
Grants take years to get, and there are
Didn't the
ways-
county have money in some type of fund for city out there? I heard Byron say he had been talking to
I'm not
the
sure.
judge about that.
I'm not sure. I know the county's not, they've never been real helpful,
Yeah.
I mean, this bridge, they own. They made us pay for half of it. It's their bridge.
Yeah.
Is it was there some erosion issues over there?
Yeah, the damn thing was about to
The one
fail.
that all the rock got blown out of.
Yeah, it was about to fail, and now I don't know, I haven't looked at it since they redid
Oh,
it.
Buffalo Springs.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this
Yes, and
thing's
that
been
is-
a headache since day one.
There's one right off 1097 about to go too.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the subdivision.
They've already replaced that bridge one time.
It's
No,
still-
not that
it's
one.
still
Oh, it's a
cut.
different
It's
one?
on the Lone Star Loop.
Oh, the Lone Star Loop, okay.
Yeah, the bridge that they
Right there
fixed was
by
on the Lone Star
The
Loop.
one where they're putting all the riffraff.
Yeah,
Somebody got it all
riffraff?
the way.
yeah.
Look,
It's where the sewer line blew out.
Oh, for erosion.
So there used to be a sewer line that ran through that creek, and it eroded out and knocked the sewer line out.
Okay,
So then we had the aluminum pipe up the ditch for 6 months.
right.
Well, we hung it off the bridge so it wouldn't get eroded out again, right? But they come back and redid the bridge with his cousin, literally, that was his cousin's company, and we paid half the bill. Because otherwise they weren't gonna fix it.
Wow. Well, I know the city's in a pickle when it comes to infrastructure, and I know that they've got budget issues. It just seems like EDC is always stuck in the mud, and we can't seem to get off the ground to do anything remarkable. And when we do try to do something remarkable, it gets can gets kicked. And
Well,
we just never
the
get any
downtown
traction.
project, the only reason it's been kicked is because we had to fix the sewer and water lines first. Which I think we're pretty much done with all that, right?
The water line is gonna be replaced when we get the design for so the sewer line is gonna already have, the water line is ready, just not ready to start until it ties into a street project or something, so we don't have to.
Fix it twice.
All right, so,
Rip it up once.
so we've been trying to get traction on EDC for quite some time now, almost a year, when we started with hunting for a director. And that director was gonna pull in grant, that director was gonna pull in bigger business and corporations and things like that. We got an infrastructure problem, and we don't wanna spend the money problem, so we decided to go with, look at retail strategies. Okay, so retail strategies comes in, and they present, and great ideas and everything, but I'm not quite sure why we need more retail when the retail we have can't even be supported with the community. There's nobody here.
Right, it was early, that was early. To me, that was about, that guy we did that was about.
That's
3,
5
4
years down now.
early.
You're right. I mean, we need bodies that live and drink and eat in the city before we can get more
Exactly.
retail. Well, you know, you need people.
Oh, I agree.
So
Yep.
we have houses that are coming in, but are those people going to go work somewhere else? They're going to work here.
Oh, they gotta work somewhere else, they can't, you cannot live in a
Right.
house.
Yeah, there's no-
So if you look at the
Yeah,
price
Houses that are
points,
coming in are
You know,
not.
you're not going to get a big
if
career
you
out
look
of
at
Home
the price
Depot.
points of all the
It's not
homes
worth
that are gonna be built, I mean, the low end is like 400,000, that's the low end.
Right, so they're going somewhere else to make a living.
Yes, they're going to Woodlands.
They're going to Woodlands, but we need Woodlands coming here to make a living.
Well, right, but
But we don't have anything, we don't have
any
medical, we don't have
industry.
anything here.
No, well, medical's a catch-22 when it comes to, they don't pay taxes. Right?
yeah, but you gotta have them here. We can't look at tax everybody. You gotta get.
Right, but we also have a limited.
Well, there's-
You gotta have
You
something.
can't
There's
say,
supporting
well,
businesses.
An anchor that's gonna
And
draw.
I agree, so I'm with you as far as if you could get a specialty medical, something that is footprint is smaller but is specialty, yes, great. If you're looking for a hospital, general hospital, literally, we don't have room. We would have to annex in, and the only place we can annex in is to the west or to the south, and we're gonna get our asses sued off by Dobbin City Water,
well,
just like we are right now.
yeah, but those battles are being fought and they're winning against Dobbin. Dobbin can't serve. There's no way. in
No
hell.
way.
The state will the state will shut them down
We
every
haven't
single
won nothing yet.
I mean, well, Redbird's being done. They won.
No, they didn't win.
It-
We signed an agreement saying that whatever, it doesn't matter, do what you gotta do. If Dobbin has to take your water, fine, your sewer come to us. And what we said, we'll do a metering agreement where.
So where's the
in
water line coming from right now?
So that's the thing, Redbird's putting in the well and the water pump. So Dobbin would get to take that. Just like if we do it, we would get to take it.
Well, we need to get the right people involved because they can't
It's-
serve. There's
it's
no
all
way
legal.
they can serve.
It doesn't matter, it's in the courts. They took it all the way to the appeals court.
Well, right, they went to New Orleans and
Yeah.
fought it, and the judge kicked it out and said, there's nothing here. Why are y'all even here wasting time?
I don't know, that's not the last I've heard, because as far as I know, we're still in litigation.
That's crazy. All right,
Yeah, so we are very limited on our postage stamp of land, right? So I totally agree, I'd love to have an industry or some large commercial that paid
No, we're gonna
actual
have to
wages,
annex, no question.
right? But, yeah, annex, something like that, but you gotta have a space.
right.
Yeah. So we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard spot. We
I
got-
don't know if it was worth debating because it's gonna go in front of voters and we don't have.
I understand.
Unless we wanna go make a marketing campaign and,
Well, I tell you what.
but I don't wanna be at odds with the city either, so.
No.
You know, and I
Let's
wanna
just put it
support,
like this.
I wanna
We're all
support.
on the same page here.
If
We
this
understand.
board decided to do a marketing campaign against city council.
I'm not saying.
None of us would be on it anymore, okay? The whole point is that we're an arm of the city council,
It's
right?
not-
That
yeah,
can do
right.
things that they can't do.
So if we're not on the same path as them, they'll find people that will be on the same path.
Well, right, but again, this place will become a dump again. If that's the path they wanna go for it.
Well, the whole
There
thing
won't be
is,
shit
we
that
just
goes
need to be on the
I mean,
same path. But here's the
Right, we
thing.
need to be in a team.
Seems a
instead
little
of-
aggressive.
Yeah, we do need to be a team.
We
So
need to
if
be
you
on the
branch
same
off and you're gonna go do
Tell me-
march your own
tell me
drum,
that
do
don't
your
seem
own
a little
thing,
aggressive.
they're gonna say, sorry, not a team. The team's headed the other way.
Threat to me.
Right, exactly. When you dissolve a group that's trying to do things for the right reasons, because you don't have the funds to support the infrastructure that needs to be here, that it's counterproductive. I don't understand how.
Well, here's the thing.
That's
So,
helping any.
do you live in Montgomery?
I don't.
Okay, so when your water doesn't work because the lines are blowed out, or
I
you can't
agree.
flush your toilet
This
because the
is
sewer's blowed
stuff
out,
that should have happened
what do you
years
think
ago.
is more important? The MEDC having a budget to do sidewalks? Or
I'm not
sponsor
worried about
concerts? Or capital projects that allows the people that pay the taxes that live here to flush their toilets and
We're
brush
not
their
worried
teeth every
about
day?
sidewalks. That's at the bottom of the.
I know, but
list,
that's the thing with MEDC was we're limited to what we can do.
Right, but you've got to be able to have the funds to attract business here. You got to have the funds to be able to attract the things that bring people here. And if you cut it off, then what are we doing here?
So, okay.
What's the point of this?
So tell me
is no
this,
point.
with the $3 million you have in the bank, what have you done to attract business here?
We haven't. We don't have any
Exactly,
direction.
nothing.
We have nothing.
I made the deal
We've
with
been,
Home
we
Depot.
talk about it all the time. We've been meeting for
It
a
was
year
my
and a
cell
half.
phone that I used. It wasn't MEDC cell phone, it was mine that made the deal with Home Depot. So, show me some results, and oh yeah, MEDC is really doing something? Yeah.
Aren't
then let's
you
do
on the
something.
EDC board?
I am.
And
That's why I
what have
volunteered
you
to be
floated?
on
What
it.
have you floated? What ideas have you floated?
This side, I was here one meeting and I wanted this.
Okay,
We've
all right.
talked,
Yeah, but that's not.
What meeting?
Okay, more parking
on
lots.
this-
Okay,
That's not
more-
generating
that's not
revenue.
generating revenue.
Yes, it is. Where do you think the people that want to shop downtown and want to eat downtown are going to park when they can't
want-
park anywhere?
I'm
That's
not-
a huge
Casey,
complaint.
I'm not
Go
saying
to
that
the
parking
Cajun
spaces aren't
restaurant.
needed.
Yeah.
Okay,
We've
what
been
I'm
talking
saying
about
is,
parking every
that's,
meeting.
We've
that's
never
not
done
gonna
anything
move the
about it.
needle very much.
we've actually talked about putting parking here.
But why didn't we?
Because we are trying to get parking on McCown and get McCown cleaned up. And we can do parking here, but we didn't want to turn the whole thing into a parking lot.
No, I agree.
And I don't think this is enough to solve our parking problem,
No, but
a
it's
little
a step in
bit.
the right direction.
Casey,
We're thinking bigger
we
picture,
asked to
though.
hire a director
We're
because
trying to
we are
get bigger
volunteers
I
who
agree.
would come in.
I'm still in favor of the director.
Okay, well, good,
Because
because
we're
it
all
didn't
volunteers
happen.
and we need someone.
All right,
to
we
focus
spin
and
our wheels, we spend how many freaking months trying to find the right guy, okay? We find the right guy, and then they putz around and lose the guy, okay? He was fantastic. He would already have given us the vision, the direction, the tours, and everything else that we needed. The reason we're not spending any money is because we keep stopping and starting and stopping and starting, and then nothing gets done.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what's happened here.
But that's
Well,
the thing is.
We're
that-
tired of it just as much
Yeah,
as
and
you are.
I also think that we, from a government standpoint, we got to be a board that works. City council should be working. MEDC should be there for city council when we need it, not as a slush fund.
I
You know,
agree.
the government, the city council got to start finding ways to work individually, to work as a council, and we come with special products when they need it. Not say, well, listen, they got $3 million over there, we can do this. Well,
But we haven't touched, we
There's-
did one little thing with it.
we're using that money for downtown improvements because it needs improvement.
Absolutely.
McCown needs improvement. That's why it's sitting there. Otherwise, we'd be spending it more on sidewalks and connecting to different parking lots and doing parking lots like that. And that's why I'm concerned about doing this, because we still don't have priorities on what exactly we want to, do we want to spend money here or do we want to spend money on McCown? They're both needed.
So my understanding though
And-
is that this was, so when I looked at the whole drawing, right, the whole concept, this is part of it. And this is something that we can do now and it really doesn't affect your
It
budget.
can help, yeah, it'll help. But
It's a step, and all it is like, it's no different than what I told the police chief, and I told Mike, I said, I know that your first thought is to stay out of the public's way, stay out of public view. I said, but you know how many people constantly ask me, where the hell is our public people? We got so many of them, we never see them doing anything. I said, well, they're always busy. Well, we try to stay out of their way, this and that. I said, man, when you go do something, get the hard hat on, get the signs out, let them see you, right? I know it's a little bit of bandstanding, but it's effective.
This
Yeah, I
is
mean, you
not
just
much
get a
different.
shovel in the ground, but I mean,
This
I don't.
$150,000 project is a peanut drop in the bucket, but it's progress. And it's something that they haven't seen in several years.
Well, I think, you know, you're 100% right about one thing. We need to do something.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why the last meeting, we decided to close, was it McCown that we were working on?
Right,
And we were
one way.
gonna start working on getting that developed. We've spent, I don't know how many months,
We've
years.
been waiting on that project.
Waiting on this
Because
project.
Water,
We keep-
drainage, all this kind of stuff.
Just because we keep loading up our bank account, it's not for no reason, it's for a reason.
I
But we
know.
can't seem to get any traction on, right?
I'll be honest with you. This council has a huge learning curve. This whole city has a huge learning curve. For everybody to walk around here and act like they know what they're doing, they don't.
Be careful. Be careful.
I'm not gonna be careful. All right.
Huge projects.
All right.
I deal with
All right, I'm not gonna be
billions of
careful.
dollars.
All right,
So,
great.
please.
Good. Let's get going. So, go visit Conroe. Go visit the Woodlands. Go visit the people that know what they're doing. They're not picking low-hanging fruit.
Okay.
If you went to Gil Staley in the Woodlands and said, I'm gonna take all your money, he'd tell you, you're crazy. Look at all the business he has brought to
Absolutely.
that area.
Yeah.
You go talk to Jennifer Shiner and tell her, you're gonna cut her budget by 75%.
We're not cutting your budget at all.
I
We're not
know,
cutting
you're
it at
taking it.
all.
You're taking it
We're
before
not
it gets
cutting
here.
it, we're not cutting it.
You're taking it before it gets here.
You're going to get the same amount of money that you were getting before.
Well, you're guessing now because you don't know
That's
that.
smoke. That's blowing smoke.
It's the truth.
It is the truth. You're taking it before it gets here.
You're gonna get the same amount of money. If Home Depot didn't show up,
You're
You wouldn't have it.
You're chasing low-hanging fruit. That's all it is.
but you gotta start somewhere. You can't eat the elephant
Well,
before the bite.
hey, that's what we said when we said we were putting a director in over a year and a half ago. That was going somewhere, that's what we knew we needed, and that's what we all agreed. And then we got all the way to the finish line, and wow, boof. Well, we don't really think we need that anymore.
There's a reason why these other communities are successful, because they know what they're doing. You can't
Be
be
careful with
so.
Conroe too, because Conroe's not successful. The amount of debt that they carry, good luck paying that.
Well, you
chunk
look
off.
at, you look
Pretty
at
damn
developments
successful.
like the Johnson brothers, the Johnson development, those guys come in and on a lot smaller scale, but I mean, they're very successful
Yes.
in what they do.
Yeah, go look at Wood Forest. I mean,
Yeah.
they made a community out
Oh,
of in the
absolutely.
middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and how much money did they
Drag that
start with?
road.
You got to. They started
Thank
with
you.
plenty of money.
Exactly.
Yes.
And how do you think we're gonna do it if we don't have any?
Well, we don't now. We have none now.
Oh, really?
You're taking
You
it.
get nothing? We can make it less. That's what I'm trying to say. Guys, we have to deal with what we have. Just like the council has to deal with what they have.
less?
That's the thing. That's the thing. It could, why can't we look at it and
I'm
go,
not quite sure why you're even on the board if you're not progressing with any ideas that you actually want to see.
I wanna see what, I wanna see.
You were all in
that
favor of the
develop.
directorship, but then that blew up. Why aren't you fighting for that?
Because I have one vote.
Well, you got one mouth too, and maybe you should start using it for something good like that, because
Okay.
honest to God, Casey,
All right.
that's what we needed.
You know
That's
how
what we
many
asked for.
arguments I get in an executive session about, guys, we have to have the personnel to be able to get this stuff done.
Right.
And I get nothing but, we ain't paying for that. These people can do it. We ain't paying for
We
that.
already approved it. We already agreed to it.
I
There was
know.
nothing that we didn't agree to. I'm not disparaging you. I'm not saying that you are not all in favor. You're passionate. I understand that. The problem that we all have, is that we come up with an idea that will work. We're all business people, successful business people. We've done it, got the t-shirt word out. We know what we're doing. I've run $35 million a year companies, my own, that I built from a $500 credit card. I know how to grow a business, but what I'm telling you is we're not day-to-day professionals, we're volunteers. And when you say we want to put a day-to-day professional in that can work with Gary, now you've got somebody at that level who understands how to grow a city. That's what they do. And to kick them to the curb right before they're
I
ready to
agree
rock and
100%.
roll is BS.
I don't understand why it went away. I have no idea. I thought it was a done deal.
We all did. And the next thing I know, we're talking about retail strategies and hiring a consultant. Who comes up with this stuff? So basically we have no say in the game. You don't get to keep your budget. You don't get to tell us
But
how we're going to
we're
run
not
things.
taking away your budget. You still have a.
Forget it. Don't even say it. I know
So
exactly.
I guess I'm sorry, right? So if we wouldn't grow at all, our budget would be smaller, right? And And
you
then
know,
what?
It's-
Tell me what we're gonna,
it's the
what we would do with
catch-22.
less. Tell me what we would do with less if it wasn't available.
Look, we're not going to have less, we all know that, okay? So let's just say that the facts are the facts, we're gonna do more, everybody's gonna do more. What it feels like is that EDC has been, once again, kicked to the curb and said, listen, you're not relevant because you don't do anything. Well, we don't do anything because we
Nothing gets
can't.
approved.
We can't. Nothing gets approved. No council approval on a director, no director. I don't care how many times it takes, how long does it take to hire somebody?
Was it ever?
3 months,
was-
5 months, 10 months?
I don't
That's
think the
BS.
director position ever.
Look at Texas, they hired a guy in one day. I mean, it don't take long.
We
You
never
want the guy,
voted
go get
on
him. Yeah.
We never voted on a director.
Well, yes, we did.
Here, yes, but not the council.
I understand that.
Because I didn't think we had any say in it.
He was never presented because he, exactly, he was never
Because it
presented.
was gonna be paid out of your budget, so I was like, why do we have a say?
I think those things have to be approved by the city, do they not?
Anything over $10,000.
Yeah.
Oh, what, it never made it to us.
No, we
Add
did.
The position to the organization chart. The city council budgeted for the position. Gary realized it was not in the org chart, given the uncertainty sometimes that less than absolutely clear information from council, legal staff, we didn't feel comfortable hiring somebody without it being an official position in the org chart. So Gary's intent was putting that to council. The candidate backed out before he had a chance to bring it to council.
Well, it's because it took forever.
Yeah.
Well, you got by some-
I mean, you can't.
He was looking for-
You know as well as I, would you sit around waiting 3 months to get a job, or would you
So-
just go ahead and
So Dave,
find
what I need to
something?
do is, I'll get that back on the agenda to get it, I didn't know it had to be added to an org chart. I thought they'd just bring it up, yeah, we want to hire the guy and it's done.
Yeah.
So all I have to do is add it to an org chart, and then at will.
Okay, so Casey, that's a great idea, because here's the deal. The word director indicates direction.
Absolutely.
We don't have any direction because we don't have a director. We had a vision, and we know what we feel like we know what we need to do, but we need boots on the ground to push it through council, to push it through assistant administrator, the city administrator, the mayor, the county. Everybody has to be involved and on the same page. Agreed 100% what you're talking about. Look, if we can get a director to bring more economic development into the community, then we can raise the revenues
absolutely.
so that the taxes
I
and
don't
infrastructure.
disagree. I'm all about, because
We're talking about
I have
last
some staff members that have, one has now since retired, and we've got a new finance person whose answer to everything is raise taxes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, absolutely not. We just need to bring in more business. So yes, I agree 100%.
That's the whole point. And it's not to be derogatory in any way, but the city has a lot to learn, really. I mean, this is all brand new. And it's not to be insulting, it's just, there needs to be somebody there 24/7. All they do is produce business.
I agree.
They're chasing, when
I
Tesla's,
think- I'm with
bad
you.
example, but when
No, it's
Tesla
not.
or
It's a
Samsung.
fantastic example.
No, yeah, because it's happening right down the road, Tesla or Samsung or somebody shows up, there needs to be somebody courting them and showing them, hey, this is what we have to offer.
Well, and I think too, when businesses have an interest in the city,
Right now, there's nobody.
I think with maybe giving them a tax abatement, I think sometimes the city stack their hurdles too high for people to come in and compete as well. I mean, I understand protocol, but I think, rules are rules, and sometimes we're over-regulated and people don't want to come.
Well, my understanding was that was what Gary was supposed to be doing.
That's what we are doing.
The council was going to get the rules. I don't know how long it takes to do that.
So we're supposed to have the temporary ones by the end of July, mid-August?
Mid-August sometime, or
Something
August,
like that.
September,
Yeah.
sometime. in
Towards the
that
end of
timeframe.
summer, we'll have the ordinances, the temporary ordinances, because they're gonna rewrite our entire building, commercial code. They're gonna rewrite the whole thing.
Yeah, because if a guy got to spend $1 million before he can make anything, he's not gonna be attracted to come.
All right, so
And they're gonna
that's
clarify.
progress.
So you click the button, they tell you, I wanna build a restaurant. You click the button, these are the areas that are available for restaurants. This is what you gotta do to get it.
Okay, that's good. All right, so again, like Wade said, we knew what we needed. We scoped it out, we agreed to it. In our once-a-month meetings, we finally said, let's do it. We started down that path, we found the right guy. Drag feet, drag feet, drag feet, red tape, next thing you know, nothing happens and we lose them, okay? Why didn't we just tee it up again and go again if we know that's what we need? Because to be honest with you, Casey, without a director, why are we even here? You're 100% right. Just take all the budget because there's no reason. There's never going to be a reason to do anything if we don't have somebody that can direct it.
Some goals.
Okay, and I mean, I can sit here all day long and say I know what I'm doing, but I don't have a clue. I know it sounds good.
And it's somebody with a lot of experience that knows how to go after grants, knows the TERS program, knows the tax abatements. Right. Because you're not going to get one of those guys without tax abatements, whether we want to approve that or not.
Right.
Hopefully we would.
I mean, you will.
For the right group. Yeah. So it's
The tax abatement that we gave Home Depot was, we'll pay back the money you gave us. That's the tax abatement.
right. But what I'm saying is,
They gave us $650,000 in cash.
I think that Home Depot deal was a good deal, but
And we told you we'll pay the $750.
Yeah,
I'm talking about like a Samsung quality type deal. They bring 500 employees. You work with those people any way you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
any way possible.
Casey, the minute you bring in one of those kinds of corporations, this city comes to life. Yes, you'll have some infrastructure issues, but they'll help with those because they want to get their plant. Then you'll also have restaurants who can thrive again and not go out of business on a regular basis, which is what's happened. They're all going out. They're all going under. Cozy, this last one.
Cozy's self-inflicted.
Well, I understand.
Done
But,
stupid things.
but what I'm saying is, even my restaurant, I mean, it wasn't sustainable, okay? You can't work on a break-even situation, which is what the city's doing. That's what businesses are doing. We're all in the same boat, and yet here we are growing. Okay, well, we've got to find a way to grow in the right way. And I'm not saying you when I say this, but I mean, council can suck the money from wherever they suck it. They can suck as long as they want to, but eventually that's going to suck dry too.
Yeah, it's gonna be gone.
Until we come up with a
So
plan.
we know we got to get the people, right? Because it's the people's sales tax that are paying for everything, and their ad valorem tax.
Well, if you're romancing
In order
these
to-
larger corporations too, like you're saying, Samsung, that type of deal, they'll go west, they'll go south. We're not looking at annexation, that type of deal. I mean, it's just do it.
Right.
And
Just
come
as
in if
long
you've
as
got
they're
issues
somewhere
with
close.
water districts and all that.
Doesn't have to be
Make them
But
taken care
in
of.
order for us to grow realistic with what's available to us, right?
Right.
We have to have these developers. They have to be able to build, and we have to be able to supply infrastructure, right? We don't have the money to do that. Like I said, we just took out a $3 million bond to put the well back in place so we can put water to everybody and not worry about it.
Okay, so you don't have the money, okay, but if we were to bring a business in.
They would help with that.
We would help.
Oh,
with that.
absolutely, to a
Okay,
point,
without, to a point and to whatever extent we had to, because we know that that's gonna drive development throughout the community, okay?
Absolutely.
So the point is that we, all of us, every single one of us have day jobs, including you.
Absolutely.
And so to find someone who can work on our behalf, you got Gary over here killing it and getting distracted a million different ways from city and people and citizens and whatever, but we knew what we needed. We asked for it, we got it, and then all of a sudden it blew up and said, well, that's not really what we're doing anymore. Did anybody call me and tell me they were changing their mind? No. Never was there a word. I just kept saying, when's he start? When's he start? When's he start?
Found
And
it.
all of a sudden, okay, he's not available.
Yeah, so the fact that they didn't go back and start to try to find another one, I didn't understand that.
Okay, so that's why this isn't an argument. This is on the record, okay? We're exploring what happened and where it went wrong, and that's where it went awry.
Absolutely.
Okay, we had a plan, and now we're a year down the road, and nothing again.
So what we needed to do at that point is say, why didn't we get a director? What do we got to do to get one? And I just found out, we got to have it on the org chart. But we got to get that in front of council to vote on it.
Okay.
They will pass it.
Well, let's start with that, because to me, if you want to talk about progress, we're never going to go anywhere until we get somebody who can direct us in that way and understands where all the bodies are. Well, I can't say where all the bodies are, but you know what I'm saying. Who knows how to dig up the necessary people and the places and the contacts.
Absolutely.
That will drive us in the right direction.
Everyone on council, or at least Carol was over there, Byner's gone now, Cheryl went over there, has seen Navasota and what they've done to downtown.
Right?
That was done by a good director.
Right.
They have a really
No
good
doubt.
director.
You don't know how many times I've mentioned
Yeah,
for the last 3 years, please go talk to this guy.
Yeah.
Have him come in.
Absolutely.
Nobody wanted
We
it.
continue to say it. Just talk to
I was
him.
begging, please let the guy come talk.
Wade knows him. He's willing to come just share.
Well,
everything.
he's got the name Bly on his shirt. Well, we can't talk to him. Bullshit. Give me a break.
Right.
So,
Well, the gal, the economic
She's-
developer over there is a woman.
well, no, there was a guy prior to her that did all of it.
No.
He was a very integral
I'm
person.
sorry?
Brad Safford.
Brad Safford.
Former city administrator.
Oh, okay.
Is he still available?
He's still available and still will offer his services.
He's in the
Just
city of Bryan Parks.
now he's at City of Bryan. Yes, he was at Bly, and he got offered to go to City of Bryan.
Yeah.
But he still said, man, I'll come in, talk to you and help you out any way I can. Not on a fee basis or anything, just
Right.
to consult. That's
I
the
have
kind
no
of things,
qualms about that.
right, I'm super happy they finally went over there and kind of did a tour and talked to people. You know, that's the kind of things you got to do. That's why I mentioned Woodlands and Conroe. Not that Conroe is a great example, it's just these are cities that have figured it out.
And I tell you, another city that's close to us, I was at lunch with the mayor of Willis last week, and they're just doing things in leaps and bounds. They're doing a whole lot. And he said, well, listen, if it's gonna help the city, everybody get in agreement and everybody get on board and say, let's do it. It ain't a lot of going back and forth and people wanna hear themselves talk. They just do it.
Yeah, and so to Jeff's point, without a director, there's RFPs flowing in from the state of Texas every week. Where do they land here at all? I don't, an empty
No, I
desk.
understand.
I mean, no one's responding to the RFPs.
I get calls, I mean, not calls, but emails that come into me, and this new Barracuda network blocks half of them. I don't know which ones are real or which ones aren't. They could be legitimate RFPs. I'm serious. I don't have a clue. And I've never seen anything like it, to be honest with you, but it's...
You gotta have somebody with that experience that know how to.
Somebody knows, hey, okay, that's
Doesn't
what,
matter
you know,
if it's blocking it or not, they come to us, what are we gonna do with it? I mean,
Right,
we don't have the time.
we have no idea.
We need someone.
even if I had the time, I wouldn't know where to go
Well,
with
at
it.
least we have to be aware of
That's-
what's going on.
We decided we needed a professional. We were willing to pay for a professional, and they're not that expensive, not for what the upside would be. That's what you look at. Whenever you're growing a business, you know how it is. You try to get someone who's got the sea legs to pull it off and go into the deep
absolutely.
water.
90% of the RFPs we're not gonna qualify for, but there's ones that we're missing out on. There's-
I agree, probably.
Yeah.
All right, so first things first, get the org chart
Get the org chart.
amended, okay? And rather than wait another month, maybe we should direct, council can direct,
We can do it right now.
well, then we should do it. We should do it. That we want, it's not on the agenda, but we want a director.
Well, the meeting will be in 2 weeks, and I'll just put it on, I'll get Gary or Dave. We'll tell Dave and I'll text Gary as well and say, we want this on the agenda.
And if we need to come together for an emergency session or out of the, whatever, to vote, to do a quick vote on a director moving forward, then we'll do it. We've already done all this. I don't know why we have to even do
You
it.
shouldn't have to do it again, but, yeah, and you probably don't.
Okay.
Because you've already voted and you're gonna do it.
Right.
You're just waiting for the org chart to hire the person.
Exactly. So tee that up again.
So-
Welcome back, Dave.
Back to my original point is like, I think our main priority is to get a director. And so with our budget being halved, at some point within the next year or so, I'm cautious of spending money on parking because, yeah, it's a short-term project and it can be done quickly, but I want to make sure we have the funds available to, our primary goal is a director, not parking lots, even though we need parking.
Well, we could do the parking lot and have a director for the next 15, 20 years with the money we have in the bank right now. So I'm not worried about that. I think
That
we-
versus the McCown Street could drain our entire
Agreed.
fund. So,
This right here is a pimple on the butt of humanity, but it's something. Like Casey said, it's at least something. All right, getting the director would be absolutely, and we know it, would be absolutely critical to the chance for success. Just a chance, that's all I want. I just want to be able to say, hey, this guy, way to go, man, way to get out there and go find bird dog some things. Let's get some stuff in here that's gonna actually turn some growth.
So do we go back to the same guy, open it up again for a new director?
I think we have to
Well,
go.
we have to put the position out there and see who's out there,
Yeah, he's the long one.
Yeah,
the interviews again.
they would have hired that guy up.
Dave, did you, welcome back, by the way. Did, you've been on vacation.
He sat in the backyard.
So the next question that council's gonna ask you, straight off the top, who's paying for it?
We are.
100%?
We've already
Yes.
allocated it into our
We've
budget.
already, it's in our budget. We've already paid, we're paying for
As
it.
long as that budget didn't disappear, but.
Yeah. But hey, before there's any more attrition, we'd at least like to have a shot at doing what we set out to do, which was get a director and drive some revenue.
I agree.
I know Gary doesn't want to micromanage him. I understand that. I mean, I'm free and relatively cheap, okay? I got a lot less on my plate than I used to have. I'm more than happy to work with it, even if he reports to you guys, but to work with them one-on-one to understand, you know, where they're going and to decide what items need to be put to you guys. I mean, I can help with that. I've got some other people that can come alongside that have great experience. Wade has expressed an interest as well. So
But here's the thing, if you hire somebody experienced, like what we
you
want,
shouldn't have to micromanage.
you don't have to manage, they'll know what needs to go to council and what doesn't need to
Right.
go to council.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you give them
1,000% agree.
layout direction, and these are the plans.
Yeah,
It's
it's,
done.
you know, it's the difference between, you know, hiring a Tom Brady, you know, and finding a first-year rookie, you know, that has no clue. I mean, you want somebody with experience because we're in the game now and in the level of the game that we need to go do it and do it quick. We don't have a lot of time.
Oh, I agree.
And if he like me, he'll go find the companies to keep his salary going.
Well, and that's the thing, right? That's the driver, the incentive for him is if he's not getting it done, then what do we have him for, right? So-
Exactly, yeah. So I think we all understood well back when we first started this conversation, what we needed. And maybe I need to be more forceful about this, but I don't typically play that way. But what happens behind the scenes seems that things just change overnight. Poof! And there's no communication. I didn't know about it until I show up one day and, okay, we're going a different direction. Well, you know, who appointed you emperor? That wasn't what we decided, you know?
What direction did we change?
We went from going to have a director
Oh,
to now
yes.
we're going to go.
Yeah,
have a
I
consulting
don't know
firm.
why that changed. I have no idea. Like I said, I'm
Well,
dumbfounded
We're
that
all on the same boat there,
everybody
okay?
was like,
Nobody
we're
knows
gonna
why.
get a director, and then all of a sudden we don't have one, so.
Yeah, the information went from basically, we waited too long, somebody else got it, boom, okay,
Right.
then it never got.
But he's not the only one on the planet. That was my.
No, not at all.
But
It just
we-
kind of
we-
died after that, though.
We did an interview process,
vetted
which
it.
was painful, but, and we found a guy that we felt comfortable with, you know, and so, and he was ready.
Well, it doesn't seem like the consulting, I haven't heard another word about the consulting group since the last time we all were together. So the point I'm trying to make is everything gets delayed constantly all the time. It's
Well,
a
the
never
consulting
ending,
thing-
never delay.
I don't know your guys' opinion because I had to leave early on the whole consulting, and I kind of shared it before everybody should. We brought them in way too early,
Right,
right? We are nowhere near ready.
for retail.
Yeah.
It's nice to know they track our cell
Yeah,
phones.
I mean, those are fantastic numbers to be able to say, oh, hey, thanks for the information, now we know
But that's
that
not it.
our potential.
Yeah.
But we're not ready.
But you can get that in any economic symposium at, you know, Margaritaville or whatever that shows that. The point is, we need a director. Get somebody who can get some boots on the ground and let's start finding some business to roll in here that are gonna leave people here. And then you open restaurants, then you open retail. Then you have homes that are being developed around the area where people don't have to go far to go to work. Nobody wants to go to the Woodlands if you live out here, if you don't have to.
Right.
And we need good paying jobs, not
That's
just,
my thing, right?
Yeah.
We're getting, you know, even Home Depot's 150 jobs, right?
yeah.
125 of them are gonna pay
It's
15 to
entry
20
level.
bucks.
Yeah,
an
they're
hour.
not $250,000 people,
Yeah.
okay? So that's kind
And
of
they
what.
probably won't live here.
Yeah, those ones, though, they can't afford to live
Yeah,
here.
right,
Exactly.
400,000
Right,
entry.
Right. So I think we all understand what we need. I think you know, I'm gonna be a little bit more boot on the ground myself because I think I have the time to do it now. And to be honest with you, I don't wanna see EDC go down the tubes because we weren't paying attention. And I don't expect Gary and Dave to do everything, but I do expect all of us, council as well as the leadership here, to adhere to the structure that's been put in place, which we directed to get a director.
Absolutely.
And that's what we want.
That's what, I agree, 100%.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at, Dave. We want a director, and we've said it in ad nauseum now, but if Gary wants a separate meeting, one-on-one, I'll be happy to face off and not like, you know, like that, but to really kind of collaborate and to come up with a plan to move forward. Wade has mentioned
Just-
2 or 3 names.
Just to give it to you, Gary didn't have a say.
What's that?
He doesn't have a say whether we have a director or not.
That's true. That's true. We
He can influence, he can drag his feet, he can do, you know,
Right.
the bureaucratic thing, but he doesn't have a say.
Okay. Well, get it to council, let's get it on the org chart, and any other obstacles there may be to getting us a director, let's make sure we understand what they
Yeah,
are.
if there's something we're missing that we need to accomplish.
Well, yeah,
before-
that's the thing. If it's just the org chart, well, we'll fix that.
Is
You
it
feel
just
like
the org
that's
chart,
it?
Dave? Dave, would you like to have another person by your side that's pulling the same cart that you guys are pulling?
If I didn't have to work on EDC stuff, I would have a whole lot more time to work on planning stuff.
That's what I'm thinking.
What I started.
I mean, we look, we know what we need. We just can't let that ball get dropped this time, okay? I beg you to let's stay the course. Let me come alongside you and help vet some of these people. I mean, I've got all the time in the world to do that, and we will find the right person for the job. We did the last time. We're not gonna sit around waiting for them to putzing around and not letting them, let them get snapped up by somebody else, because nobody waits that long for a job, okay? I wouldn't. If I-
And do we have the ability, if we find the perfect qualified person, young and aggressive and got great experience, that if it takes $20,000 more to get them,
It's our budget, we can do whatever. we
Yeah,
want.
you just amend your budget.
yeah, because
Ultimately, it'd be y'all's call on.
Okay.
We'll just move from
Well, what do you think it's gonna cost?
I don't know.
What did you guys budget for him?
There was
120?
wasn't there one that we lost
Might be
because they
light.
were,
That might be light.
wasn't there one that we lost because they were more in the 150 to 160
I was gonna
range?
say,
Well, I think this
150
guy,
probably
that guy was in the
closer to
140
where he
range, but willing to take the 120.
Yeah.
But 150, look, that's spent money if he brings in
is.
a
No, it's a good,
No,
multi-million dollar.
if it's the right
I
investment,
mean, the
you make
sad
the
thing
right
is who can
investment.
live on that kind of money?
Yeah.
what?
What's that?
That's the sad thing, who can live on 120 grand a year?
No.
It's getting tougher and tougher.
No,
Not without a two
Well,
income.
that's
Yeah.
6 months.
that's right.
All right, so we've got direction, we know what we need. We're saying as a group that we all agree, right? That's what we need. We don't need to ask for it anymore, we're just gonna push it. I'm gonna check on a weekly basis, see how we're coming along. You guys got a meeting in 2 weeks. If you need me to show up and say,
It wouldn't hurt, it never hurts to push your costs.
no, I'll show up at council and say, come on, guys, we need this on the org chart, we've asked for it for, we're not, I don't wanna beat the dead horse, but that's what we want.
I would.
And then I'll get with Wade and he's got a couple of names that are already interested in the job that have had great experience, and we should get those in front of you. And then eventually we'll find somebody that can relieve you of the EDC's job, and they'll be sitting over there. Maybe you could just pop in and check in once in a while.
Say hi.
Yeah.
I will take this back to Gary, talk with him tomorrow, and again, if you'll reach out to him, but I'll make
I already
sure
did.
that item's on the
Yeah.
agenda, so we're good.
All right, well, let's push this along then. We have one more item on the agenda, which is, there's no formal action needed, but this agenda has a review and discussion of the wayfinding projects and documents. EDC began citywide wayfinding project with, is it Marriage Design? Okay, in late 2022-23, the project consultant submitted 75 completed project. Drawing set for our review, the staff has reviewed and provided some small formatting comments to the design team that are immaterial to the project overall. One substantive comment by the staff to the consultant was to select a different stone for the signs with the stone veneer elements. Now, of course, we're just seeing this for the first time tonight, so we probably need a few, a day or two to review it. But the current specified is a pink granite native to the northeast, and EDC wanted something that was more like Texas limestone, as we've talked about in previous meetings with the consultant. So the staff had no other additional comments. EDC directors can review and provide additional contents to the staff at the meeting. Well, we didn't get this until it was too late. So if y'all have comments on this and you want to present them to me, just send me an email and I'll get it to Dave, and we'll make any adjustments or at least discussion about any adjustments that we might want to make.
So,
I looked it over, and it looks like what we had all agreed on before, just to kind of
that's
let
what
y'all
I was
know.
wondering, if they haven't made changes from what you guys have already, hey, this is what we want,
Yeah.
except for the.
It even
the
looks
stone.
like they have limestone on here, but it's just a visual.
Yeah.
Maybe
Then I
it was
don't
a
see any
spec.
reason to withhold.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I love this. I'm very impressed, to be honest with you. Good job on finding the right company for that.
We should have, I anticipate having the final set at the next meeting. I don't, make their schedule, but that's what I'm trying to push.
Okay, so the final set would be next week?
The 100%, again, pending any comments that y'all have, don't feel like we have to say it now or you lose it. Again, like you say, funnel those comments,
Yeah.
To Jeff, and we'll make sure that we get them. It largely seems, on track with what they explained and what the feedback was, both from the EDC and the council during the joint workshop. So again, it seems like it's coming together, but if you guys see anything, please don't.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Once we get our final approval in on this, when does the project begin?
So what the EDC approved was the design project for this wayfinding project. And so this project is a design only. There are no construction of signs or any signs that are built into that 69,000 or so that you guys approved for this project.
Okay.
Signs, kind of one thing that has, or one example of a sign that's come up recently, it was in the presentation, but the library sign they don't want to buy.
Of course, yeah.
To that way, that's about a $10,000 sign, give or take. We would have to bid it out to know exactly what it was. But the consultant felt like, well, that could be, a $9,000 to $11,000 sign. And again, that was one of the larger,
Right.
2-pole ones. And then he said the smaller ones are, 6,000 to 8,000.
So, I don't know off the top of my head how many we have in here, because I haven't looked at all of them.
Now, that estimate of 6,000, that's turnkey, that's done, installed,
ground,
nobody comes back for more money.
So we would send an RFP out for multiple signage companies?
Yep, so next steps after this, once we like the design, once the board likes the design, and you say, yep, this is a good project, we approve it, and we accept this project. Then what we can do, the next step is then to look at those other locations that they're recommending. Say, here's how much we want to allocate, and again, that's a budgeting conversation that you have.
Right.
This is how much we want to budget for this. Okay, we take well, here's the 3 that we said were the most important to us, and that's what we paid for, or the 5 or 7 or 10, or
Okay.
how many signs that you
Okay,
will
okay.
they want. What this
So we
does is-
could we break it up so, hey, this year we want these ones, next year we want these ones?
Yep, of course.
Right, so-
Exactly.
Phase it in until we get them all
Until you
done?
get them all.
Isn't that a part of this plan, to have like where the signs go and what they say?
Right.
Yeah,
There's
it's
a
just not
location
shown
map
here.
in there, it's thought through like all the way down
And then-
to there's not a question of even what letter goes on the sign. Every letter,
But there's like an overall map of the city though, right? That shows
Yes.
where, yeah. So
Yeah.
I think we just allocate a certain dollar amount every year, and we just kind of chip
Yep.
away at it every year.
It's funny,
What you get out of it.
I met with Tom Point today. Have you met the older guy?
Yeah, no,
And by the way, that's another volunteer. I don't know if you know Mr. Hoyt very well.
I met him a couple times. I worked with him on a sign application for M6's Drapery, which is just right in the downtown.
Okay.
area, across from the snow cone place. Next to Burger King. And so got to know him there, and he did a lot with marketing. Really, really intelligent.
Well, he
guy.
was the senior vice president of CBS Radio. He was the first general manager of KRBE and CODA. He's got umpteen years of marketing experience.
Right.
This guy knows his stuff, and of course, he was just fighting, his only fight was to get a sign for Fernland, and you know, you saw the one that he said. And when I told him, I said, hey, it's on our agenda tonight, because I met with him today, and he said, listen, anything you can do to decide, of course, and he was like, my guys, I can't believe it happened that fast. I said, well, that's the fastest thing the EDC has ever done. So anyway, I think the next step will be, you know, when can we put some of these signs together that make sense and will drive people and show the culture that we have within this community. I love the welcome to Montgomery sign with the date we were born and birthplace of the Texas flag. All that is so important to, I think, some of these signs, monument signs and things like that, to really start to at least show the community that we are moving forward.
Well, Casey made the comment, start putting your signs out and put your hard hats on. I mean, this is an inexpensive way to start.
Exactly.
Let's get something going.
And we got money, we better spend it before they take it.
I'd say, next time they check, it's zero balance.
You're never gonna live
It's a
like that.
valid point. Okay? It's a valid point.
Not Casey.
I guess you understand the passion, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because we're passionate on the other side, the same as the fact that when you got a bridge in front of somebody's house that's got a hole this big and you're going, well, how am I gonna pay for it? Maybe next year?
Yeah.
Listen, I don't disagree with the position. I understand the position, and I just feel like we've wasted a year and a half now of goofing around trying to find the right direction when we already knew what the direction was, and we had it. If we had just inked it, we would be far down the road by now. We may be looking at another Home Depot type deal, but with a corporation that's going to put 500 people to work in our area. So it's not that we don't know what we're doing, it's that we can't seem to get any traction ever. And that's what bothers me, is that it's a lot of work for nothing.
We did a lot of
Yeah,
talking.
I don't wanna leave it up to developers, because they're gonna.
Oh, I agree.
They're gonna go the cheapest route every time.
Absolutely.
And they're gone
Yeah.
overnight, yeah.
But you guys
Which
have
is
got
another
the,
reason why we're redoing the ordinances, so that way
Exactly.
we can hold them to the fire and.
yeah.
Well, we're on the path of progress. I mean, the bottom line, old buddy of mine, Jack Fry, used to tell us, there's nothing wrong with buying a piece of dirt as long as you're in the path of progress.
Right.
It's just
I think we're heading in the right direction. Once we get the ordinances done, we get the director in place, there is no excuse after that, okay? And I'm willing, I mean, I'll go out on my shield and say, we can do this. We need to get more money for the city. If that's what we're gonna do, let's do it the right way. Let's bring businesses in, because you can't keep robbing Peter to pay Paul. Eventually, Peter ain't gonna have nothing either.
And that's where we're at, right?
Right.
We're to the point where we borrow money where we can't pay back.
Yeah.
And are forced to raise taxes.
Right.
Or we raise taxes.
Right.
And nobody
Nobody
wants to
wants
raise
to do
taxes.
that.
a lot of your future developments, the developers, I mean, they can participate.
Yeah, you make
I mean,
them
absolutely.
participate. You make them extend those utilities, you make them
Oh,
increase the
and that's all of
capacity.
our agreements, right?
Yeah, right.
You know, I don't know, and it irks me, and I know maybe they had to do it to kind of kick the ball and get going with these different agreements that, when the words Kroger come out of my mouth, I just cringe, and the shops across the street. We have a developer over here that built houses, and they don't have to pay any taxes.
Well, having a good director who knows how to negotiate deals is very, very important, okay? And I think we're gonna find somebody that's gonna make a difference in this community. That's what we need. We will get it, okay? But we gotta start. We gotta get this person hired, okay?
So, but that's the other thing, when you talk about tax abatements.
Right.
We can bring businesses forever, but if all we do is tax abatements, they're using our infrastructure for free.
Right.
For years.
My point is, you do that for the right one, the one that's gonna bring 500,000 employees,
But if we drive people here and
if they
they pay
don't-
taxes and they buy products inside our city, all of a sudden
And the employees can afford to live here also.
Yeah, but I mean,
Huge.
right, they're professional employees, they can
Right.
afford to live here. But, and if they don't perform, they get hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go retroactive on.
Well, I think there's enough people on this council, on this director platform that understand, we all have different core competencies. You got businesses, you've got developers, you've got engineers. We know what we're doing. We just don't have the sea legs to pull it off. So we can talk about it all we want, but until we get somebody who we can direct and get that vision aligned with the city's vision, we're going to continue to go nowhere fast. And like Wade says, we don't have anything if we don't get some traction.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
So we might as well go ahead and start working towards that. And then maybe there won't be any need to rob Peter. Maybe you'll have more than enough and we can rob the council. That would be fun. All right, before we get adjourned here, we have...
You were gonna, did you want to say something?
Oh, no, I'm good, no.
We have Patricia here who is going to give us a little bit of information. She wasn't, I didn't see it on the agenda, but I see the report.
We have to do the finance report.
Patricia, would you like to talk about some of the events that you guys?
She said I forgot everything I want to talk about.
Well, Dave, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say that on the finance report, so Carol did text earlier, said that she wasn't gonna be here, so she's obviously not here to deliver the finance report. Any questions y'all have, feel free to reach out to her or Mary Ann in the finance.
On the financial report? Okay. Yeah, I reviewed it. It looked fine to me, but, yeah, so do we need to accept it?
No.
Okay. All right. So then, Patricia, you're up.
Well, hello everyone. So on the first page, you'll see the events that already passed. I know we haven't had a meeting in a while, so I put all the events from March all the way up to June. So if you have any questions over those, we didn't have any issues. Movie nights did have to be postponed twice for the weather.
Okay. Yeah, that
But-
makes sense.
Yeah. Other than that, the second page has the upcoming events for July only. We do have 2 new events on there. It's 2 health classes that I partnered with Texas A&M, and they're going to be hosting the classes for us. They're going to be teaching the community for free. So it's going to be, so far we have a good amount of people signing up. And then the last portion is just a budget update.
Quick question. When is the Christmas parade this year?
It's going to be the second week of December, so December the 14th.
What day?
Or December.
December the 14th, yeah.
Okay, let me just pick that. I was just checking the calendar.
Second of December? Or?
No, the second weekend, second Saturday of December. That's the 14th. Okay. Okay, so the 14th. And so the Light Up the Park, is that on the same day or is that the week before?
It's going to be the week before, December the 7th.
Okay, 12/7. Okay.
And the snow parade is going to be December the 23rd.
So we're doing that again on a separate day.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. So last year I did do it separately. So just to back up, when I first started, we did do it the same day. We did come across a little bit of little complications because a lot of people did start to show up early to the event, so we couldn't open it up early enough for them, but we did end up opening it up and everything went good. The second year, we decided to split it up to see how that would work. We actually got a lot more people on the second year. So last year I had about 3,000 people show up for that event only.
So just,
The snow parade.
this is the snow, but that puts it on the 21st of December, which is, I mean.
People are leaving.
People are gone. Yeah, I'm worried about the, have y'all thought about that?
Yes, so I know that last year I did exactly the same thing. It would have landed, I believe, on the 20th, I think.
But it was a weekend before Christmas and it was still good. Okay.
Yeah, it still had a really good turnout.
I guess there's enough people that still stick around, but not everybody goes out of town for Christmas.
Yes, I have these statistics that from social media that I can give you numbers on how much people are already interested in the event.
Patricia, when is the trick-or-treating historic Montgomery going to be?
It's gonna be October the 26th.
26th, okay. And let's see, are we doing the quilt walk again?
Yes, sir. That's gonna be October the 11th and the 12th.
October the 11th. All right, and I think that was all I had questions about. The Rug for Veterans, that's not really that big of an event, but that's happening at when next year?
That one already passed in March, so that's...
About the same time next year,
I'm
probably?
assuming so.
Okay.
That's a different private event, so whenever they apply, I'll know exactly
Okay,
the date.
24, got
But
it.
it should be somewhere around March.
Patricia, what are you struggling with and what are you having success with?
Did not expect that question. So, I'm like, I've been doing pretty good so far. I do handle the social media side of the city as well. So I do the marketing on our own events. So I've been doing that pretty good so far, from what I can see.
So what do you struggle with? What are you having issues getting people to show up to these events? Or, I mean, I see your posts, but how often are you posting, by the way?
I'm posting every day, so I
Okay.
do have posts every day, from 3 to 5 posts a day. Weekends, I do have 3 posts, so I can monitor them. I don't try to monitor on the weekends just because I also go to college. But I do have an iPad if I do need to check on anything. I have received a lot of spammers that are trying to get people to call them or email them or something for vendor-wise, so I do take my proper precautions on that to make sure that people don't get scammed.
Okay, so if you thought the last question was crazy, you'll probably really think this one is. But what do you want to be when you grow up? The reason I ask that is there's a reason for that, because you're studying psychology, right?
Work in progress, yes, sir.
Okay, but not communications.
Sort of, both of them actually. I've talked to my advisor because I do this for a living, so I did talk to my advisor. So I've been taking public communication classes and the major that I also want to. So
Okay.
it finds-
Well, I was just curious because, I mean, either social media class or something that would help you in this endeavor, because obviously you want to be the best that you can be. And is there anything that we could be doing to help prop you up, to give you greater success? Or where do you get the push? You're on the ground, so you get the pushback when there's pushback, but you also get compliments and things like that. But where do you find, I mean, that we could be doing better to help make these events more successful?
I mean, not anything right now that I can think on top of my head. I have been going to training. I did go to a government social media training for social media, so I can market it correctly and know the proper steps for it as well. So I just did that about 2-3 weeks ago.
Okay, so are you learning that, I mean, what are you gleaning from these workshops? Are you getting some
Yes, sir.
good nuggets that maybe you can apply?
Yes, sir.
So I still don't have an answer to my question. What do you want to be when you grow up?
I've been talking to my advisor to make sure I do have that path on the right spot, so
Which is what? You don't know?
work in progress.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I was just curious because sometimes, you know, people are here for a reason and sometimes they're here for a season. And it's okay either way. But, you know, we're kind of, it can be a really uplifting when events go well, and it can be really disheartening when they don't. And I've had both. All the time it seems like there's some that do great and some not so much. So you have to have pretty thick skin, you know, in those cases. But, you know, if we're going, you're kind of the icing on the city cake. Or at least the events that you put together are the icing. And the quality of life and the things that people come here for, right now, it's really all we have. So making sure that you're shored up to where you have the resources that you need, as well as, you know, people who can come alongside you and help grow you in a way to help you become highly successful is very important to us, okay? Because it's really all we have. We don't have a director driving big monster-sized companies in, but we do have events.
You're kind of the front line right now.
Yeah.
You are.
We have a group of volunteers. I've been managing them.
Well, I think we can get some people together for you. What do you need, though? Is you got to tell us.
Well, for certain events, I do need more backup, like for the bigger events, for Christmas and stuff like that, and Halloween. For the, I don't want to say not major events, but like the movie nights that are a little bit more repetitive, those are pretty good to handle. But yeah, like for Christmas and the trick or treat, I would want to have more people that I can actually keep the event safe. You were there for the event last year, and
Yeah.
it
So.
didn't turn out bad, but
Okay.
it could have been safer.
Yeah, all right, so when you're talking about keeping it safe, are you talking about city employees, like police officers, or are you talking about just people in general, like regular citizens who are kind of collaborating with you to help?
It could be that. It doesn't
Just
necessarily
a
have to
volunteer
be.
with a yellow vest that says city on it, that says stay out of the street.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
kids don't get run over, you
Okay,
know?
gotcha,
that kind of thing.
okay.
Basically.
So what are you as far as, with the police, paying police for security versus outsourcing? We talked about that one time as well.
Yes, we did. We talked slightly about that with Gary, but, so there is a certain policy that, I mean, we do need the officers to be there, of course, because they're the ones who are gonna, if you think about it, a law enforcement officer has more authority than a security guard. So we do need them to a certain degree, and I've had, like, I do talk to Lieutenant Belmarin, so we do communicate pretty well, and we agree on good amount of people that I need. So like for the Lone Star Street Dance, that's a pretty big event at night, so I do have officers there just for safety and traffic control. And then if I do have volunteers that if I do need somebody else, hey, we may have a lot more people coming to this one, I do bring my volunteers in and I have vests for them to be out there. So I do prepare with that. And for like the Christmas parade and stuff like that, that's the one that I'm actually preparing my volunteers for, because that one is the one that I do need more bodies in different locations to make sure that nobody gets run over and then the parade goes smoothly like it did last year.
Well, how many volunteers do you need, do you know?
I'm still looking at the numbers. So far, I have a few signed up. My numbers right now are from 10 to 20 volunteers that are signed up, but I do check on their hours. You know, some of them do have daytime jobs as well, so some of them are open 24/7.
Arnett, you're really good at organizing stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah, I could help, I mean,
this guy knows everybody. Anybody who's anybody, okay? And usually when you're in the church world, if you can fog a mirror, you're in.
that's it.
But he's very good Arnett's very good at getting people to jump in and help out where needed. And he works at you still work at the church?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We do all the winter wonderlands, we do all that.
And
I got bouncers when people get out of line.
But why don't do you have Arnett's information?
Yes, you do.
Okay, why don't you collaborate? He's dying to get in the game. I know he
I'm absolutely, put me in, coach.
Yeah. and he's really good at that, okay?
Well, I think it's kind of foolproof when you got a collaborative effort and you get everybody on the same page and like I say, you're the captain of the ship and you allocate certain duties for different people to do, whether it's staging, whatever it is, and you got those people at the post. So it's pretty easy to do. I put on 3 or 4 events a year, and I have never had issues. You know, of course they know I got my license to carry too, but.
But some of the events they put on have multiple thousands of people, just like the parade.
Yeah.
Maybe take a couple of weeks and just kind of put a wish list together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You may not get all of it, but you'll get something. Yeah.
I think we'd love to see, we want to be involved, but we need to see more coming back this way. These guys are taxed.
Yeah. So I do have one question about events, and I know we don't have the resources to do it this year. I've been asked several times about it, is the Wine Fest that we used to do in the fall.
Yes.
And again, I know we can't call it the Wine Fest, we'll call it the Booze Fest. I don't care what we call it.
I've been
It needs to be back here.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
She's brainstorming.
I've been brainstorming on that since I heard the discussions and everything. So again, we can't call it the Wine Fest.
Yeah.
And then there's alcohol policy, so I do look up on those to make sure that we are not involved in that side of it because that gets really technical.
Right.
So yes, I've been looking into it. So hopefully I can bring something back for us next year. But I am putting like my budget together. I do keep pretty good track of everything I spend, so that way whenever I do bring the budget back to you guys, I'm like, okay, I'm thinking about doing this, and this is how much it would take because of this.
That might be the single event that brings people
Yeah.
from outside of the city.
it's a
That's
different-
probably the one single event that people.
It's a different caliber.
It does. It's a different caliber of people.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, the cool one has brought people from Arizona and other places as
Right,
well.
right, but and that's the point is, those are the first set of eyes on this community.
Yes.
And that's why you're kind of the front line right now. You're the one kind of promoting the city.
Yes.
So doing it right and getting that kind of concept back into the city is important.
So that was, the Wine Fest was owned by the chamber, at one point.
They give, well, yeah, it belongs to Conroe now, but yeah.
Okay, so we don't really have the name Wine Fest, but we can call it anything. We
Yeah,
can
we
call
call
it
it Harvest Fest, we can call it.
Harvest Fest, you know, you can call it Wine and Dine or Wine and Stroll or whatever you want to call it. The point is, we call it whatever we want. It probably takes, according to Shannon, you know, this year's out, but we should be able to pull it off by next fall.
I actually met with her after our meeting, like the meeting that you guys had here, because I wanted to get her input to find the backstory of it. It does take a lot of work, so I'll put all the list together for you guys to know how much work it takes, so you guys know what I'm looking at, because I am.
Just know that we want to do it next fall.
Yeah.
Okay? Not this fall, next fall. It gives us a little more than a year and a half to pull it off, okay?
Hey,
We can
what's the
do it.
rules on the city selling alcohol?
I'll be honest, I do not know alcohol rules.
Well, they've done it before. I mean, I've been at fests down
Well,
here.
we usually
where
bring vendors
the
in to sell
vendors do.
alcohol.
For
Yeah,
sure.
right.
And the city gets no cut, but if we
Right.
sell the alcohol,
Well, but if we get a cut off of the selling of the booth or the space or whatever.
we
is
get
that
very
not-
little.
Okay.
Well, okay, so that's another thing. There are cartage permits that you can get for events. They're not super expensive. I mean, I have a liquor license, but you're talking about a cartage, you know, an event permit. They're not that much. It's a liability thing, making sure that you have insurance that'll protect in the event of, and the city may not want to go that direction. That's why a lot of cities don't, because of liability. But there are those of us, and you know, that would be more than happy to, you know, partner with the city to get the alcohol sold. And the Wine Fest is a phenomenal event. It really could drive some revenue for you and for your budget, okay?
Yeah, and I also, another idea would be, and I've done it 2 years, I would like to get with you about putting together our annual classic car show.
Yeah, the car show's
That would
fantastic.
really be good. I belong to 105 Cruises and a couple
in the
other
Brooklyn
car
Brothers Park.
shows.
Yeah.
That would be really, really cool, and it would really,
It brings a lot of people.
It
Yeah.
really does bring a lot of people. It does.
yeah.
Okay, so a classic car show, there's another one for you, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so the last question I has to do with the sip and stroll. You know, I see 50, 60 people, whatever. I mean, maybe we should be giving people a visual of what types of booths are there. Is there any way that maybe you can accumulate some photos of products, not just the booth, but what are they selling? What are they offering? Because to me, I would never go to Sip and Stroll unless I knew that there was something maybe I wanted to sip and stroll with, or, you know, and go get, you know? So the point is that for those of us who are in the area and have the free time available, would love to come out, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't say what it actually is, you know? So maybe we could define that a little bit better in your social media post?
Potentially, the only thing that has changed on that is that the originator was Canberra, and it is gonna be moving back to Canberra.
It's moving back to Canberra?
Correct.
Okay, so that's fine, but is she doing the social media on it as well?
I know she has her own social media. I can promote the event, so I usually do that with the private event side of it as well, as I do promote the event. So I do have pictures of the vendors that I had, but if she can provide me pictures, I would be more than happy to.
I think you should you just ask for it. Don't you know? Just say this is something that we need. Why did we send it back to Canberra? Just out of
I
curiosity.
don't have the details on that.
Well, I mean, who did that?
It was something spoken by Gary, but I don't have the details.
So I know a little bit about that.
Okay.
It was some of the businesses that were on the other side of 149 were complaining to the city about,
That they weren't getting the love?
well, they weren't getting the love because all the vendors were down McCowan and off of, what's that, whatever.
Which is
right?
the historical
Is it
area.
Right, so, and I'll tell you right now, that one of the main complainers was Randy about, well, you know, how come they're not over here, and this and that really doesn't do much for us, and we're like, well, they're gonna get run over on 149, that's why they're not over here.
Yeah.
So I think Gary just went, you know what, if it's private, they can go get you hurt.
Okay, all right. So that's why we pulled it out of the city's wheelhouse. Okay,
'Cause I know
well,
Gary wanted to take it over, he was gung-ho for it, it was something he thought the city could do, and then he realized none of those people down there, not one of them gets along, so.
Oh, yeah.
Do we just do it and not worry about
Yeah,
it?
do we
Well,
tolerate
sometimes
that
you
or
just
what?
kinda gotta
Yeah,
forge
just put your
forward,
head
right?
down and
You
go.
and not worry, but, you know, he's gotta do the, again, to
You're never
Gary's
gonna please
defense,
everybody, right?
No.
when you have council members that will just turn on a dime and run to his office and just scream bloody murder because their friend bitched and cried to him,
Yeah.
it's not worth the effort.
I understand.
It's
Yeah.
not worth the effort.
Well, for 50, 60 people a week, it's definitely not worth the
Yeah,
effort.
and
I
that's- I
mean,
think
we should be
that's what it is.
focusing our efforts on things that are going to drive folks to the city. And that obviously doesn't, because 50 or 60 people are the same ones probably
Yeah,
every
they
week.
live here.
They may be the vendors for all we know.
No, I don't count the vendors in there. Just
What-
me.
What's that?
I didn't count the vendors in there, so. we-
Oh, you didn't count the vendors, okay, never mind. Okay, I retract that one then. All right, so the point is that it's not on our plate anymore, so you can focus maybe on others that are, and maybe spend a little more time really developing those, which is what we need to be doing, okay? So any other comments on the event side of things? Not really, not so much, I know. But like Wade says, that's all we have right now. Until we can get something else going, that's all we have. And that's all we have had for a long time. We want more. You heard it today. We want more, and we're willing to put out whatever it takes to get more. But in the meantime, maybe you can, take the reins and really push towards a better tomorrow for the event side of things, okay?
So what are the postings? Is it primarily Facebook only, or what other avenues are you using?
So I have Facebook and Instagram. Those are the main social media platforms that we use, but I do use MailChimp where I send out blast emails to people that have subscribed with us, and that's where I get a lot of people as well. So those are pretty good. I do keep up with the stuff on the tourism page and our city website tab under tourism.
Are we, is our city website on I don't know, the algorithm that you use, basically when you pull it up, I mean, we pop up or we
You're talking
5
about
pages back or what?
Yeah, go ahead.
So whenever you click on the city website, it'll be a tourism tab. So when you click on the tourism tab, I've been working on that stuff so we can have more visibility to the people, but you do have to click the tourism tab.
Yeah,
get
to
there.
your question though, in the search engine part of it, I have no idea. I know if you type in Montgomery, it pops up, right? I mean, there's a couple of Montgomery's stuff, and you have to be careful because sometimes you'll click on Montgomery and it'll take you to
Alabama or something.
like Delaware or something,
Oh,
down
Delaware,
up north.
Maryland,
Yeah.
Montgomery, Maryland.
Maryland, yes,
Yeah.
yes, Maryland. There's the high school one is the worst. Montgomery, da-da-da-da-da. You get to high school, and I'm always in Maryland, and I'm like, are you shitting me?
Recommend putting Texas at the end, and that's what I've done because I've done that too many times too.
Yeah.
So, Patricia, what about a TikTok account? Does the city have a TikTok? No?
No, sir.
Okay.
Not that I know of.
I mean, that's another avenue where, I mean, it's
Just
it
what
used to-
generation are you marketing?
Right. I'm gonna tell you right now, TikTok, even though, it seems like it's a young generation, there's a lot of adults that are on TikTok now.
Well, they
so-
get caught in those loops is what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, they all end up on Facebook at some point. So having cool videos, fun, engaging videos and things like that might drive people to the city as well. I mean, I'm just talking about getting creative with our social media and at least when you're showing off your events, you got to show the benefits of them. I mean, you can go to CapCut and put together a quick video of all the videos that have been shot on iPhones, but we need a little bit more marketing. And have you met with Tom Hoyt yet? Have you talked with him? No? Okay, I'm gonna get him, put that name down. His name is Tom Hoyt, and H-O-Y-T, and I'm gonna ask him to reach out to you. He's willing to volunteer anytime. This guy is a genius when it comes to marketing. He's old, but he's smart. He's been at the top of the game as far as national, I mean, he's run hundreds of radio stations at one time, so he knows what he's doing, but he might be able to help, and he wants to get in the game, and he's willing to volunteer and work hard, okay?
Yes,
So that's what you need, right? Volunteers? And these are guys who can mentor and really kind of guide you a little bit and help you make great impacts.
Probably get more out of that than going to school.
Well, I'm a big believer in,
I like learning from my elders, so.
yeah, mentors make a difference, okay? So let me put you in touch with somebody who might be able to grow you a little bit in the right direction and you know, I mean, next time we may have, you know, the Patricia of the Year trophy, you know, wherever, anybody who does incredible things gets that, you know? So I wanna just encourage you to reach out to him, okay? So
Yes,
I'll send you an email and we'll get working on that, okay?
Yeah, and also what we do, Eagle Enterprise in Montgomery County United, our nonprofit, all the stuff we do through the course of the year, at the end of the year, we top it off with we call it the Christmas Gala. And we have companies donate, I mean, we get really big donations, and that would go into the piggy bank to put on more events. So it's and we sell tickets that night. It's a sit-down meal, it's a live band, $50 a ticket. So you figure a couple of hundred people, you got a good little jig there, you know, so it works, you know.
And to speak to what Arnett's saying, I know now that you have all this free time, then you don't have sip and stroll,
I
okay?
don't know about all the free time. But we
Okay,
do have
well, maybe a little more free time.
Yes.
But maybe something along those lines would be well received, where you can celebrate some of the city leaders and the businesses who have made great inroads.
Yeah.
You know what gets rewarded gets remembered and repeated. So, you know, if you can reward some of the business leaders, even the ones who are like, wah, 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 may decide to stop whining and start working towards a better tomorrow as a team. And that's what we really need to focus on, not just events for outside the community, but also for the ones that are in, so they can partner.
Yeah.
And they can collaborate and they can become one unit, because we're obviously not doing a very good job of doing things scattered. So maybe we should start trying to bring people together a little bit more. But
Yeah, it would definitely unify the city at large, and you get companies to donate. Of course, along with what we do, we underwrite a lot of stuff, but we get a lot of donations to help put that event on. And then you can salute companies and whatnot. And man, when you acknowledge somebody, just make them feel really good, you know? End of the year, you have a little dance, have a little beverages, and everybody have a good time.
exactly.
In addition to what they're saying, it's kind of the Charlie Diggs concept. You go out, I mean, you can pay for the whole event through sponsorships.
Yeah.
Right.
It's,
I've been working to get
okay.
sponsorships as well.
Yeah, so sponsorships are huge.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not gonna pay for the whole event, but you're gonna pay for a big chunk of it.
Correct.
And
Well-
those are the people we're talking about acknowledging and
Well,
and
that's
wanna
even a thought with
participate.
these wayfinder signs. You get some of them that are fairly good size. I mean, you get some oil company, they love it. I mean,
Yeah, no, you put
Bella
up a
does that
banner
with all the
with,
high schools and all that
yeah,
stuff.
you
and-
put up a banner
It's
with,
huge.
you know,
That's-
National Oil Well Barcode, you know, and
Yeah.
they're a huge sponsor, you know, that kind of thing.
And whatever you have, the community center, because nonprofit get the center for free, so that's a cost you don't have to.
Okay, and so who you go to that? Shannon. Shannon Reed has put on a million of these events, the chairman's balls and all kinds of things like that. She would be a great resource for that and would love to do it too.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got good people around you. You just need to tap into some of them, okay? You got the Arnett's, the Tom Hoyts, the Shannon Reeds, people like that who care, and me and others who will come alongside, but you got to do some of the heavy lifting, okay? All right? And I think you have the capability of doing it. We just want to see more of these events take flight so that, you know, we'll get recognized, because
Yes, sir.
we need the recognition right now. We need people to look at us and go, that's a fun place to be, okay?
Yeah, and we done threw a lot at you this evening. Don't think that we say you're not doing a good job. We just said you got assets and resources to make it bigger. You know, that's what we said.
That's exactly what we're saying, yeah.
Willing to help.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't have anything else. You guys got anything
I
else?
have one other
Casey?
thing, and it's more of the board inquiry, right?
Okay,
So Mike, I can't his last name. Thank you. He had brought something to council 2 summers ago, I think,
who?
our public utilities.
Oh, Mike, yeah, okay, all right, gotcha.
About looking at maybe the city doing a splash pad
Yes, yeah.
down, you know, we have the building, we have the property right there in the center of town. Council kind of hemmed and hawed about it because maybe of liability issues. I've seen the one in Houston, I was like, yeah, it's Houston. But I was in Destin 3 weeks ago, in Destin Commons, which they've done a wonderful job with Destin Commons, right? Very retail center, walk around. And there's a neat little splash pad right in the, it's just neat as hell.
In the common area.
I think the splash pad's a great idea. They can be nasty. They can have a lot of bacteria and stuff like that, so you gotta be careful with them and make sure they're maintained. We did look into it a bit. There's a lot of pushback from council, but why can't EDC pull something like that?
Well, that's
together?
why I'm asking, right?
I mean, I don't see why we can't look at something like that. We do have the budget. Again, those are the kinds of things that will make the community. What about Cedar Break Park? Would that be a good spot? Do
Well,
we
it
have
draws
the-
people into the community if,
It's, I
Thank
mean,
you, Patricia, by the way. Thank you.
those are two great
involved,
locations, it just depends on
Yeah.
what you want it to do. If we're trying to bring
Dave,
malls
you've
and
been this
kids
route,
downtown to buy
right?
sodas and drinks and whatever, then we want it there.
Honestly, I think that's where you utilize developers.
Yeah.
They can bring those concepts together with retail and within their development in a common area. You look at the Woodlands, for
Woodlands
instance.
Market?
Yeah, Market Street, it has a splash pad, green space,
Yeah.
sitting areas, yeah. And that helps retailers as well. They like that.
Like the city of Coppell in near Dallas.
Our issue is
It's
that
exactly
we're
right.
not set up worth a shit downtown, right? Our streets
Right.
are
That's
crap, we
true.
don't have space,
Right.
so our center is owned by the city,
Yeah.
right?
And I mean, and there's some things Dave and I have looked at that if they come together, we can develop something like that, you know, with the right guys. And again, that's where the city needs to get a different perception of how you work with developers and say, look, we're gonna wrap our arms around you and do whatever you need to do. Let us help you, you know, instead of this, well, you know, what are you gonna do for me thing? You know, let us help you get there. Because they're gonna bring something that's very valuable to the city. For the right guys, you know, not everybody, but for the right ones that wanna do the right thing, yeah. So I think that's how you accomplish that, but the EDC can participate in that.
Right. Dave, what's your experience on the splash pad concept? I mean, y'all are talking about developers and stuff like that,
I
but
spent 14 years in the swimming pool industry. I'll just advise you guys, don't cheap out when you do it. If you decide to do it right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's not a magic.
You be working on it.
I mean-
Instead of that, we can spend 25% less and we'll just use these parts from James.
Right.
There's a really good example.
Yeah.
There's a really good example in College Station with that Midway did at Century Square. I mean, everything is wraps around that green space common area with, and I can't remember if they have a splash pad or not, but it could easily be incorporated into something like that. Yeah.
I think it's a great idea.
Great idea.
And it's not something we haven't thought about, but
Right.
it just kept getting shot down every time we talked about it, mostly for liability
Well,
reasons.
that's the thing that council pushed back on,
Yeah.
and it was one of my concerns, like, I don't know the liability of that, what is it?
Yeah, maybe it's not city owned, but it's a developer owned, but they get some credit for doing it. You know, you help them some way.
Yeah, you know,
You gotta incentivize them to do that, because they're losing space to what could be retail.
I mean, City of Conroe has one, City of Shenandoah has one.
Yeah,
So
well, and that's the thing, it's like, okay, I see that for us to move forward, we're gonna have to do some of these things.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
well, it's again, give me a director. I promise you we will
Yeah.
get some of this stuff accomplished in short order
I think our
too.
highest priority.
Because there's-
Would you look at putting it at Cedar Break Park or be a neutral site somewhere?
Yeah, it could be there or a neutral site.
Cedar Break would work, the only
Oh,
issue
yeah.
is there's no commercial there.
No, right, you gotta have a kind of a town center
commercial,
concept
that's right.
that people gravitate to and they stay there. Go
Maybe
in,
the city can buy up all the houses around there and we'll create little coffee shops and all kinds of fun businesses, okay? Like in Coppell, that's what they did. They just developed their own community. Every house they're new, but they look like they're part of the original. If you ever want to see something really done right, Coppell is amazing.
Coppell is awesome.
It's
Or we incorporate it into, I know there's potential development coming down the end of, College Street and all, to the west.
To the west, yeah.
Of Cedar, maybe incorporate something
That
there.
could
with
be a
that
great
developer,
spot. That could be a great spot.
where are you
Come in,
talking?
west of Cedar Break.
Yeah.
Oh, west
Right
of
across
Cedar
the
Break,
street.
okay.
50 acres that.
Oh, yeah.
So they're looking at basically even to St. Charles in New Orleans?
No.
It's
It's a beautiful
awesome.
street.
Yes.
It's a beautiful street.
What's been
That
a
whole
long time,
aesthetic,
yeah.
that whole, and the developer that's doing the 50 acres that you're talking about.
And that's what he told me. Well,
That's
'cause
what
when he
he's thinking
showed me,
about.
I said, this looks like similar to St. Charles. They said,
Yeah.
well, that's kind of the concept.
So
Maybe
we
that's
already have
someone
someone
we-
that's sort of interested in
Tom
that?
Cox.
Oh, Tom, okay, good.
Maybe that's
Awesome.
a partner with them.
Oh, my gosh,
Incorporate that.
love to work with Tom,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's,
50 acres west of Cedar Break here?
Yeah,
yeah,
Along 105.
Okay.
yeah, they're more,
fantastic,
they're
yeah,
like the Southern Brownstone, you know?
Yeah,
They're
right.
$700,000 price points.
unbelievable, yeah. Well, that's good news. I mean, has he started that project yet, or is he just,
It's
getting
in the
closer?
early stages.
But it's getting farther along than
It's being
what it was?
It's planned.
Preliminary
Okay.
planning.
Good, 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 good.
And that, and if you guys have noticed, the developments that have moved forward for a while were smaller homes, and then all of a sudden they just slowed down to stop. And now the developments that are moving forward are these much higher price point homes.
It is.
So, back to what you originally said about some kind of medical, those are the people that can live in those homes.
Yeah, they're all driving down to the
Right.
woodlands.
Right.
But because of our postage stamp, we've got to bring in some kind of a specialty cancer, whatever it is, not to be morbid, but,
Right.
you know.
No,
Right.
there are companies out there that want to get in front of the city. I know, I've talked to them, I've had them in my place. We had a breakfast guest he runs a massive medical facility down in College Station, he wants to move here. Things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, that, again, I could have said, well, here's the director's number. Call them and they'll work out a deal with you.
What
I
was that,
mean,
getting a director, is that what you want?
What kind of deal?
I think I want a director. Yeah, I think we all want a director. Well, I think it's time to close out this meeting so that we can go listen to some debates.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Get a very large cocktail and sit.
This is gonna be I can't wait to see this. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, so unless we have any other business to attend to, I apologize for keeping you up so late, Dave, on your first day back. Anyway, so all right, we'll just go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 7:50, and we're adjourned.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen. What's that?
If we can just do a motion and a second.
I so move, I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded that we adjourn the meeting, and it's amendable and debatable. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it, we're adjourned. Thank you, Dave. Thanks for the packet, Dave, and isn't it funny how you go out on vacation and, it's easy to, we're back though now, right? We'll be here for a while? Okay.
Yep. Back till August.
All right.